Hello! Today I'm going to be talking about the Mississippi Gravel Cup Round 2 in Hattiesburg. This was a really fun race to do, and it was a very aggressive and tactical race as always, a lot bigger group this time. And I actually have the first like 20 minutes or so of the race that I cut down a little bit, and I'm going to show the exciting parts. Jump right in at the start, we're kind of cruising. First part of the race was a little bit downhill, so we're all kind of chilling right here. I'm chilling on Scott's wheel because my game plan in the first part of the race is just to follow Scott. My plan is I'm going to go just as hard as Scott goes. And if we roll off the front, cool. If not, whatever. And Scott's going to start it off with a little bit of a jab just to get the speed up. And I was like, oh cool, it's on, we're going. Speed's high right here. But everybody's here just drafting, just a good start the race, just to get the speed going. It was cold by the way, guys, right here. It was like 36 degrees, and it's tricky to dress for because it was like 36 at the start of the race, and then it's going to be like 65 at the end, so a pretty big difference. We're confused right here about which way to go. Navigation was a struggle all day today. So, but yeah, I rode this before, and I told Scott to go this way. So we're going down here. This is nothing to break up yet. Nothing to break us up yet. We're all just kind of rolling on this fast road. I was kind of like determined just to stay at the front. I think I pulled a lot in the first part of the race. My average power file says so, because it was like 320 the first like 20 minutes of the race, just because I'm just pulling, because I really don't want to be past the top two in this for obvious reasons you'll see later, and I'm also don't want to miss the boat on a hard attack. I'm trying to get up the road with Scott if that's possible, because I'm cool with going early, and but I don't want to like initiate it, because I did that last week and it burned me pretty good. Luckily I was still able to win, but definitely hurt me a lot. So I'm just kind of taking a long pull right now, just asserting my gravel dominance for no reason and burning my legs while everyone's drafting behind me. It's pretty cool to line up with the leader's jersey in this race and stuff, and then look behind me, everyone's just like lets me back in, so it's basically just me and Scott pulling the first like couple miles. And I know by the way that there's a hill coming up right here, and I know that Scott's gonna jab pretty hard up this hill, because when me and Eric came out and pre-rode the course earlier in the week, and I was like, this is the first hill that we're gonna go hard up, and Scott doesn't even know yet that he's gonna attack, and I'm just sitting there waiting. I'm like, do it. He's thinking about it, and then he puts a little bit of effort in up here. This isn't like an attack, this is just like to get everybody who shouldn't be in the group out on a little hill like this. But I'm just gonna ride next to him to puff out my chest and say I'm strong too. And then I'm telling him to take a left right here, and this part's a little tricky. Why? This course is mixed. Some spots it was good to have a really big tire, and some spots it wasn't. I'm running 35C Maxxis, or not Maxxis, 35C Pana Racer gravel tires, and we're still giving a good effort up the hill. I'm pretty sure it's just up me and Scott right now, but I think Low's coming up, and then it's going to be like me, Low, and Scott for a little bit, and then we're going to sit up, and then everyone's going to come back. This is a pretty hard start to the race, and I was expecting this, and what's funny about this is it's kind of pointless, because we're going hard, and then we're going to get pulled back later. Or we're not going to get pulled back, we're going to stop and 30 miles, and everyone's going to come back. But yeah, we're still giving it a good go, and I'm trying to keep it fast, because I have a little maneuver that I've been planning since Tuesday on a certain bridge and climb that's coming up that It has no impact on the race at all. I'm just gonna feel really cool if I do it. So, but you'll see shortly what I'm talking about. Scott was pulling, and I come by him because I want to be first. And I didn't know exactly where the bridge was. I kind of had an idea of where it was, so I was just like sitting there trying to figure out. Like I'm like, oh, is it at the top of this hill? No. And then I like, okay. And I pull off, and then I'll try to let him come by, and then like end up like, or actually right here. So this is a hill right here, and I'm gonna pedal just hard enough up it that no one comes around me. Scott's going right there, and I'm like, for sure we're just riding side by side right now. And then I like stomp it up this little spot because I want to be first up this hill. I should probably chill out in the next gravel race and not really care how strong or not strong I look in the beginning, because everyone's doing less work than me and Scott right now, just from drafting. Oh, by the way, it's really pretty, by the way, if you look up here. Pretty sunrise. One of the perks of starting at 7 a.m. It's really pretty, other than the cold. It's my cool right there, taking a picture of us. This course is also really sandy too. This happened a lot coming through the little turn right here. Oh, almost crashed and saved it right there. And I was pretty tired from going up that hill, so I was like, whoa. That'd be great to lay it down in the first like 10 minutes of the race. Because that's another element of gravel racing. You have to like pay a little bit more attention on all this stuff than you would in like a road race, because like this descent is a little tricky. It's not, you kind of like have to keep your weight right, and I'm a rookie, so I'm not technically savvy at all, but it does take a little more effort. And we fast forward to here. This is me, Scott, and Lowe, and there's 2 other people behind. I'm trying to stay up in the front as close as I possibly can because I know the bridge is coming up. It's like a kind of like a bridge that's out, and me and Eric reconned it, and I know that they haven't seen it yet, and I'm going to exploit that. And I was also kind of nervous going into it because I'm curious if the weather had changed at all or anything, but because there was also a risk of me crashing too if I got this bridge wrong. But if I get it right, it's gonna be super cool. A lot of fun downhills too, by the way. Right here, we're just kind of running through, and here's a bridge I sprint by, and Lowe and Scott are like, "What the heck is he doing?" Come through here. Boom! And take my sneaky left side line that I doubt many people took, and then I'm into the climb, and no one's with me because they all went slower over those obstacles because they're sane, and I wouldn't be comfortable doing that if I hadn't seen it before, but I have because I live here. And it was a short 30-minute drive for me to come out here and ride Tuesday and figure that out. And I've already crashed on this climb on Tuesday, so I know where not to crash now, so I'm just gonna try to control my power and go with this, because I'm not trying to win the race right here. I just wanted to be a little cheeky and do something like that. That mud's kind of hard. That's why I crashed in that spot on Tuesday. But yeah, I'm going just... But yeah, I like to think that I went up this climb easier than everyone else because I just kind of like chilled, because they're all like kind of like getting off their bikes back there, and I have a little gap going into the climb, so I just sit up and chill. Scott did go through that spot pretty well, and I'm just waiting for Scott to come back up to me. I filmed a lot of this part too, but I don't want this video to be like an hour and a half long, so I kind of cut up a bunch of it. But basically, Scott comes up to me, and it's me and Scott for a while, and then Scott says it's too early, and we kind of pull the plug on our move, and we let them come back, and then yeah, so then we ride around, and then we stop and take a pee break, and then 2 more people come back, and then now we're gonna fast forward a lot. This is now 85 miles or so into the race, and our group is made up of Tracy Martin, Scott Coppersmith, Justin Lowe, myself, Matthew Slavic, Eric Nelson, and Jim McElroy. And we've been riding fairly well with each other all day. I kind of started some shenanigans around mile 60 or so, and we all kind of attacked each other, but nobody really got away because this course is hard. It's fast, but it's not like Oxford where it's like a 3-minute or 5-minute climb that you can get separation. You like really have to hit it, and then when you hit it in this course, by the time you get to the top, they're still close enough where they can chase you back on the downhill. So it takes like a lot of attacks to get separation, and you have to be on it. And that's kind of hard to do when it's downhill, but I'm gonna still try though, because this group is a little too big for me right now. I don't really like the size, so I'm gonna start off our attacking fun with a little move up this hill. See if what this does to the group, because I was curious how everyone was feeling, because I felt pretty good right now because I'm doing this, and my jumps are pretty explosive, and I always get a gap initially, but I kind of the case for me today was, which seemed like everybody else, I would like make a big move and I'd get a gap for a little bit, and they slowly come back to me because I'd have a hard time sustaining power after it. So I look over my shoulder now, and it's Jim McElroy and Lowe, and we have a gap, a little bit of a gap over the field, and we're like, go, go! And we keep the pressure on pretty good right here, and because I'm like, man, it'd be awesome if we got away from the group, because the group's kind of like split right now, but eventually Eric and Scott will make it back. This move dropped Matthew Slavic and Tracy Martin, so now the group is containing 5 of us. I think it's 5 of us. No, 6 of us. No, there's 5. Me. Yeah, so keeping the effort on, going up this hill. It's going to pull off, and I'm going to keep going through it. This is a very fast course too in the last spot, so if you got like with a good group and a good rotation, you can just really move over these hills, which is also hard for solo breakaway, which is why I was kind of conservative from the beginning, because I didn't want to get off by myself and then get caught or burn a lot of energy and then get caught with like 10 miles to go like last weekend. So yeah. So we turn this corner now, and our group's going to be made up of 5 people. I'm kind of like taking a roll call of who's here. It's you see Eric right there, Jim, Lowe, and Scott. And this is our lead group right now. Scott's in a t-shirt right now, by the way, because like I said, the temp changed 20 degrees, over 20 degrees probably from the start. So he liked the t-shirt over his long sleeve jersey. And there's another 100-miler coming by. The course like ran back on itself a lot. Like there's a lot of like out and back and other stuff, which was confusing for navigation, because you can't look at your Garmin. You're like, oh, I come through here already, or am I supposed to come through here again? And by the way, we're keeping a good rotation right now because we did drop those other 2, and we don't want them to come back, so we're just gonna keep it going. Beautiful area to ride, by the way. And by the way, I'm feeling so much better at this point in the race than I was last week. Probably because I've been a lot more conservative, saving it for the end, so I have a lot more matches to do use right now than I did at this point last week. I'm not just like hanging on, waiting for the end. Yeah, this is a really strong group of racers too. Through the whole race, I'm thinking of how I'm gonna beat all these guys, because they got onto all my attacks pretty easily, and I'm making them like I feel good, but they're like counterattacking me, and which wasn't the case last week. So this is a very strong group of racers. But yeah, we're keeping the pace high, and there's a truck right there. Gotta pay attention to on these roads because you just come around and there's a truck. So because this race is on open roads, so forget that sometimes when you're just out there in the middle of nowhere, then you come upon like a hunting truck. But yeah, so you can see in this video the terrain's just very rolling. That was the case all day. Lots of rolling stuff like this. Not many terribly long hills. And I'm thinking again of when I should attack again, because like I said, they got onto my stuff pretty easy, and I really want to win, and I don't want to just do a bunch of stupid attacks. Fast forward like a couple miles or so, and this is a pretty long climb, and I knew it was a long climb, and I was going back and forth on whether I should attack on this climb, and I got a cool new Garmin. It was telling me exactly how long the climb was when I went into it, and it said it was like 0.8 miles, and I thought about going from the gun, but we'd been rotating pretty good and wasn't feeling quite confident enough to attack at the base of like a almost a mile climb, because what if I die and somebody counterattacks me and they drop me? So and maybe I should have attacked right there. Maybe I had a better chance of separation, but I'm just thinking about it. So we're about almost to the top of this thing, or at least I think it's almost the top. I look up and I'm like, okay, we're almost there. Scott's just come off a pool. Jim's on the front. I'm on Eric's wheel. Pretty good hill. He's got a good pace going, and I'm thinking I'm gonna try another one. So I'm gonna go again right here and see how this shakes up the group, because I'm just hoping that I'm hoping a move like this will split, and I'll get somebody to go with me or two to go with me, and we'll drop a couple. So, because I'm not really thinking I have the engine to just ride away solo from these people, because they'll just rotate and pull me back. And then I'm going, and I'm like, oh boy, this hill keeps going though. But like that top looks steep, so I'm just trying to keep the power on. But that little steep kick up right there kind of caught me off guard, because I couldn't see that when I attacked. So yeah, I do have a little bit of separation right now. So I look over my shoulder and I see, I think it was Scott who was chasing me at this point. And my legs are kind of starting to fade at the top of this one right here. And now it's flat, and I have a gap, and I'm trying to figure out if I should commit or just keep it, or just like let them come back. And I've decided just to keep my head down, and maybe somebody will sit up and I'll get it, and the gap will go back out. So I'm gonna stay on it right here into this turn. Gotta watch out for that sand, and then I'm just gonna stay on the power right here. This is a pretty high speed section right here. Because I found a lot of case with attacking is you're not going to get a big gap initially, but if you just stay on the power, you'll outlast the one person who's chasing you, and then the group could sit up, and then your gap could go straight out. So I'm just going to try to stay on it. And I also noticed too from here, because I can see them and they're close, but I noticed we've dropped Jim with this attack, so now it's Eric, Justin, and Scott chasing me, and Jim's off the back. So I just have my head down, solo DTing right here, trying to keep a high speed in the arrow, but it's definitely stinging right here after a long and hard race with these guys, because we were tame, but our pace was still pretty good for the whole race. I'm looking at like a 260 or so average for this point, and I've been caught by two of them, and we notice we have a gap, and I kind of don't want. He's close. He's chasing to get back, gentleman, and everyone's kind of sitting up. They look tired, and I'm a dummy, so I was like, they'll never expect me to attack it right here. So I see Eric drink a bottle of water, so I attack again. See, to see what they do. This probably wasn't the most efficient spot to attack. It's not really a good idea to attack on like a downhill like this, but I was trying to catch him off guard. And I do get a little gap, but it's not really hard to pull somebody back on a 30-mile-an-hour downhill like this is. So, but at least this is keeping the pace high that other guy doesn't come back. But yeah, so I get caught again, and I just kind of swing over, and they're on my wheel because I just attacked them the second they caught me. So then I swing over again, hoping somebody will come by. They're not going, and then Scott puts in a pretty good dig right here and a good counterattack. That would be the move for sure after somebody's hit 2 attacks, is to go over the top the second you catch them. But I'm feeling pretty good, so I'll get on that right away. I'm just trying to get on these moves immediately because I really don't want to be in a scenario where somebody goes up the road and I have to chase, or we have somebody who's not chasing. And then I pull through right here because I really trying to keep this group at 4, because I'm still pretty sure this is going to come down to a sprint, and the least amount of people there are in the sprint, it's going to be better for me because that means the least amount of mistakes I can make. Eric's going to do a little sneaky move right here with a little bit of power and the seated Eric attack. In super arrow. It's a really fast section right here, which is nice because it's making the miles click by a lot faster because I'm ready for this thing to be over. This race ended up being about sub 5 hours, which was pretty good because the last one was like almost 6, so definitely a little quicker than last week, about the same mileage, but a lot. We averaged just about 20 for this race, and last week it was like 17 something, so way faster conditions and a bigger group too. Eric's keeping the pace good up this climb. And then we see Lowe come by right here with a good pace right here, and just stinging a lot, but we're all together, and then I'm gonna get on Scott's wheel right here. And this looks like a Scott hill, and Scott hits a good jab right here, and I get on that immediately. Stinging for sure. And we look over our shoulders, and we have a gap over Lowe and Eric, and I pull through immediately because I want to keep the pace. And I'd like to go into the line with one person would be good for me. And that was kind of my goal with these, is to go to the line with one other person. I pull through probably a little too hard right here, and I look over and Scott's not on my wheel. Scott's going back to the field with Lowe and Eric, and I'm by myself right here. And I decided to keep the pressure on, and then I see we're going into like a fast downhill right here, and I see Eric on the front charging pretty hard. So I ended up deciding just to sit up and coast down this hill. Because like all these attacks are good, but I really haven't put a big one down that I'm like 100% committed to. So I'm just coasting right here. Then Eric comes flying by me. And we're screaming down this hill right here. Although you're about to see an example of why you should, if you're leading into a race like this and you have people who like to attack, you really need to be pedaling really hard right here, not coast into the hill and then start pedaling. because you're going to see on the right, this one hurts a lot. Scott comes by with a lot of momentum from being behind us and just hits it, and I kind of can't respond immediately because of the gravel right there and being a little bit boxed in, so I have to pull him back pretty slowly. And this one scared me because I was like, oh man, he's got a big gap right here, but I use a lot of energy right here, and then I kind of come over the top of him because I see we have a good gap over both of them. But similar cases last time, I pull over the top a little too aggressive, and I have a gap for a little bit, but the truth is right now I don't really have the legs to sustain anything. I'm hoping I do, but it seems like every time that the group has enough energy to pull me back. So I sit up right here because I've been caught, and they're not going to come by immediately. I'm waiting for somebody to counterattack, because the time that you want to attack is like right when somebody's attacked and been caught, because the group's tired from catching them, and they might be they might be too tired to chase you down. So definitely the time to attack is right now when you call me. But we're going to keep rolling through because Jim is still close and we don't want him to come back. Because I've noticed that he's had a pretty poppy sprint all day. He's been jumping on my wheel pretty fast, and every time I've attacked, up until this one. All that has been off camera, but it's definitely had a pop to him. And he's big, and he just looks like a sprinter. Low pulling through with Eric. Lots of just games right here. Because basically the theme of the end of this race was just like hard, then easy, and then hard, then easy. And then Eric's going to kind of go to the front and drive this pace right here and pull harder than, and for whatever reason I leave a big gap on him and don't draft him at all when he does that. So I'm pulling through, keeping the gap. We're less than 10 minutes away from being at the finish, and I'm pretty convinced now that it's going to be a sprint. So I'm going from not attack mode to like save energy to sprint, but cover everything that goes. Because I'm feeling pretty confident about sprinting with this group, but I can't win the sprint if one of them gets away, so I'm just in a mode of making sure. And then we slow down. We're slowing down a little bit right here. Scott's asking me how far we have to go, and they shortened the course. So I'm looking at it, I'm thinking it's probably 2 miles. I have a little spot in my head from pre-riding where I know that we'll be where we are close to the finish, because I remember going up this hill early in the race, so I know we're getting very close right here. And I'm going to lead into this downhill, and pretty loose gravel right there. Fast downhill into another uphill. And I'm just trying to keep the pace on going into this one. And I look at this one and I kind of swing off and coast, which is a mistake, because as soon as I do, Scott hits it really hard right here. I think this is like one of the ones he put in as like and then I'm in the deep side of the gravel right here, where Scott's on the other side, so he gets a good gap. And I think this is the hardest one he did of our race right here, like the all or nothing, and it takes me a minute. It's just me, by the way, pulling this back. It's like Scott, me, Eric, and we're all like solo trying to pull gaps back right here. But yeah, I do come back to his wheel. And I'm back on, and then Eric comes back on too. And then low is not on, so it's now me, Scott, and Eric. Right here, and looking, and Eric notices that low is not on, and he keeps the pace high and pulls through. And I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to put this in much energy to drop him low, because I really don't mind coming to the line with him. But yeah, Eric's going to keep the pace high right here. And I am not going to get on his draft. I'm going to leave a 2 bike length gap right here for whatever reason. Maybe I'm just tired. But yeah, I'm definitely going to try to clean that up in the race, because I'm probably doing the same power he is right now, because I'm not drafting him at all, because I'm like 2 bikes off. Definitely be more efficient at that. And then he gets off and pulls through, and I really am not committed enough to pull through and keep the pace high right here, because I'm thinking about the sprint coming up, and sprinting with 3 to 4 is not that big of a difference for me, so I'm not really concerned if he comes back or not, so I just kind of do like a fake pull and then pull through. And Scott's pulling pretty slow right here, and then low comes back right here. He actually said that he came out of his pedal going up that hill because he was in road pedals or something. And we're getting very close to the end, and as a theme in last week's video, it's just a very looking at each other type of tactical game at the end. Because I think we're all pretty certain it's going to be a sprint now, so we're just saving it for the end. In like a track stand type of way. But we can't sit up too much, because Jim is still chasing pretty hard back there. And then I kind of like pull off right here, and no one really wants to come through. This whole little lead into is kind of all uphill, which would be a good place to attack, but I'm not really concerned about it. I really want to save it all for the sprint now. Scott's saying that we need to keep the pace high, so because we can see him in the distance coming back, and we're all just riding just hard enough and trying to make sure that he doesn't come back to our race. But yeah, not much going on other than looking at each other right here. So get the pretty Camp Shelby gravel and trees. We really weren't taking in this beauty right now. We were just all hurting and trying to recover. I'm trying to get psyched up again, because it's really hard to find the motivation to just, because it's going to take a massive sprint to beat this group. And Jim is getting closer now, so Scott's going to pull up here. And I'm not even drafting right now. I'm just like sitting in the middle of the road with my elbows out, just like just watching for somebody to attack. Like, I'm just pulling through, and Scott's the main guy I'm worried about in the sprint, so I'm just trying to be close to him. He's the main guy I'm worried about getting away. Maybe saying rotate, because this guy is coming back fast, and you see him closing the gap. But I'm tired, and like, if he comes back, then he comes back, because I'm committed to using as little energy as possible now, and in between the next 200 to 300 meters for the sprint. And we're coming up now on the left-hand turn. This is really funny. We're all tired and navigation is hard. I know in my head this is the right way, and I know it for sure. I've been looking for this. But Lo and Eric go the other way, and they're like, wrong way! And I'm like, slam my brakes, and I'm like, and Scott gets with me, and I'm like, That's the 50 miler. And they're like, you're going the wrong way. And then I'm like, no, we're not. This is the right way. So we just keep going again. And this guy's like, how do you know? I'm like, because I rode this before. So we're riding, and they're like coming back, and I'm honestly don't care enough to like attack them and not let them come back, because there's really one person I'm kind of worried about in this sprint, and it's the guy next to me. So me and Scott are just essentially riding shoulder to shoulder right now, waiting to sprint. I'm trying to keep the inside line right here. It's like a long uphill drag to the finish. So I'm trying to time it right, and yeah, so and here we go. We are getting very close. Me and Scott are shoulder to shoulder right here. And we're going to see a hard flying Justin Lowe come by and start the sprint out early, and this was absolutely perfect for me, so I just jump on his wheel right here. He's going to keep the speed high right here, and then he's going to fade a little bit, and I'm going to hit it right here with the... I was worried if this was too far, but I really wanted to get the first jump, so I'm going right here, and this 50 miles is really stressing me out, but I'm just going as hard as I can right now, and I win. Awesome and super fun to take the second win of this series. You know, this was a great race and a great duel with all these people, and I'm looking forward to more with them. Thanks for watching.